Like the winter soldiers that Thomas Paine talked about so many years ago, the vets gathered here today are fighting a war they have chosen for causes that are theirs and benefits that will be shared by all. At this time, I would like to ask the members of IVAW, 5 other speakers today, 3 that are vets and 2 that are parents of fallen vets. So at this time, our first speaker will be Joe Miller, a national coordinator of Vietnam Veterans Against the War, who served in the U.S. Navy from 1961 to 1968 and was aboard the USS Ticonderoga during the Gulf of Tonkin incident. So, Joe Miller. Please hold your applause.
Good morning, everybody. Glad to see everybody out on such a nice day and for an important cause. I've been tasked to do a couple of things today. First of all, I want to remind everybody about someone who is missing today. This is the first Memorial Day in a long time that we haven't had Bill Davis with us. Bill Davis was the national coordinator of Vietnam Veterans Against the War, was part of the national leadership of VVAW since 1972, and for many of us, the last time we had a lot of time with Bill was at our 40th anniversary celebration last August. Bill was an Air Force vet. He joined the Air Force to stay out of Vietnam. He ended up in Vietnam. He ended up in Thailand. He ended up organizing GIs and veterans against the war while he was still wearing the uniform. He got court-martialed for his organizing. He became a supreme labor organizer. He worked with U.S. Labor Against the War. Bill did so much important work for VVAW and for IVAW and for the veterans movement and working class movement in general that we have to recognize that there's a big space in our presence today. But Bill's spirit is with us. Bill touched everybody that he ever worked with. He touched young people that he met down in Champaign-Urbana, where I work at the University of Illinois. He touched working class activists throughout the country. He touched people overseas. Bill Davis will be missed, but his spirit lives in every one of us and in every one of the people that he ever talked with and ever laughed with and ever shared a beer with. We need to remember Bill. Next, we've got some awards that we're going to be presenting. These are awards that are recognizing 3 people who worked very hard to organize the IVAW Winter Soldier activities in Washington last March. 2 of the 3, Bill Branson and Ken Nielsen, were central organizers with the security detail to help make sure that everything ran smoothly. Barry Romo is also included in that group, but Barry's not with us today. Barry's down in Fort Hood with IVAW, working down there. So we've got 2 certificates we'd like to present. I don't know if Bill is here yet, but I know Ken is here. Where's Ken? Behind you. And everybody who knows me knows that I can't read anything in daylight. It's kind of a vampire thing, I guess. So I'm not going to read the award. Certificate of Appreciation, Ken Nielsen from Vietnam Veterans Against the War. Basically what I can see here is it's signed by Dave Curry for the national coordinators, and it's presented to Ken Nielsen in recognition of his work with our security detail at the VVAW, IVAW activities in Washington, D.C. this past March. Ken, where are you? There you go. Thank you, Ken. Is Branson here yet? No, Branson's not here. Well, he misses out. I get to take his award home then. The third person we're recognizing today, and the reason we're separating her out is there's a couple of reasons. One, she kicked ass organizing the participation of VVAW and IVAW members in Washington, D.C. She helped organize things so that everybody had a place to sleep, that everybody managed to get there on time, and that people basically were taken care of. Kat Miller, where's Kat? Come on, Kat. Don't be shy. Another reason we want to recognize Kat is that she, unfortunately, is leaving us. She's going to be heading back to Texas to teach high school, which is an important thing. I really want to highlight the work that Kat has done. I've known Kat for a long time, since she was a student down at the University of Illinois, and ever since she started working with us at VVAW and with IVAW, she has not quit. She did an extreme amount of work. She probably is paying the price psychologically for this for a long time, but we need to recognize the young people that work with us and that keep us going and keep us young. Thank you, Kat. Bill's here? Ah, Branson. Come on over here. It's taking longer than expected, but that's okay. It's a VVAW event. Bill Branson, I've known Bill probably for about 20 years now. Bill and Barry and Ken basically worked on getting the security detail together, made sure things ran smoothly, made sure there was no disruption of any sort. And VVAW wanted to recognize Bill's work. Bill has been a security guy for us for a long, long time, probably longer than he wants to remember. But we need to recognize his work too. There you go, Bill. Thank you, Bill. People should understand that those of us in VVAW have been committed to this kind of work for a long time. The young people that we bring along and the people that we work with in IVAW are important cogs in a machine to end this war, to end future wars, to keep other people from having to go where we went and pay the price. So people need to recognize the young people that they see in front of them today and recognize us old farts, because we're still here and we're not going away. Yeah. Thank you, folks.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Our next speaker will be Adam Lowry Navarro, who is a member of IVAW Chicago chapter and served in Kosovo from 2000 to 2003 with the 101st Airborne Division Military Police Corps. Adam.
For the record, it's Adam Navarro. Thanks, Jim. I'd like to say thank you to the City of Chicago and thank you to the citizens of the city or wherever you came from today. For us veterans, this day is, one way to describe it, it's this commemoration of the fallen who we've served with. It's like the older I get, the more sensitive I get to it. It's like almost like a funeral. So forgive me if I shed a tear while I'm up here. But where I would like to start really briefly is to talk about those that have fallen, those who have served, and those who wore the uniform. Because really that's what this day is all about. And what I'm noticing, given the fact that I'm an active member of Iraq Veterans Against the War, who has for the past 2 years been speaking openly, publicly against the occupation of Iraq, noticing more and more communities, especially this one here in Chicago, coming together and taking a stance against the occupation of Iraq, against the senseless death sentences of 4,080 is the last number I heard of young men and women who were brave enough to wear the uniform. And the question is, concerned citizens and veterans, is we're asking why. That's increasingly the communities I go to throughout the Midwest, the East Coast, since I've been doing this, they're getting larger. They're getting larger in the universities, the town hall meetings. They're getting larger. They're asking why. Another thing, while we were in, a lot of us standing here, we joined for one reason or another, but in particular, one of the groups that we served with were immigrant soldiers. And that's another hot issue these days, immigrant soldiers. In the year 2000, there were 29,000 immigrant soldiers. In the year 2005, there were 39,000 immigrant soldiers. By the last number I heard in July 2007, there were 69,000 immigrant soldiers. So the immigrant community, this is arguably evidence of a clear-cut backdoor draft. Un giro de trasero, de puerta trasero, I think I said it right. So again, American families, why are we going to war? Why are my sons and daughters being sent over there in this senseless occupation? And why are immigrant soldiers, what's going on with this significant jump? So these issues are bringing all these communities together. And I just would like to, for all of us to recognize that and know that. Well, I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adam. Our next speaker will be Christopher Arendt, also a member of IVAW Chicago chapter, who served 6 years in the Army National Guard as a specialist in field artillery. In 2003, Christopher was activated to serve for 1 year in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, inside Camp Delta as a prison guard. Christopher.
Good afternoon, and thank you for coming to share this day with us. In lieu of being able to do this for every United States service member who has died in the history of the United States, I'm going to take an opportunity to tell you and to remember Dwayne Dresky, who was my neighbor when I was in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, who was a member of my unit, who was a friend, and who died in Iraq. It's awfully noisy down here today. Dwayne was... or Dresky. I never called him Dwayne. I always called him Dresky because that's all you do in the military. You call people their last names. Dresky was the little short guy who was always super nice, really friendly dude. I never really got a chance to sit down and have a full-blown heart-to-heart with him, even though we lived together for a year. We got drunk together plenty of times, and he had tattoos, so every day when we were hanging out, we'd be waiting outside for the bus to show up so we could go to work. I'd talk to Dresky for a little bit. We'd talk about tattoos, what our tattoos meant, why we got them. He'd tell me about martial arts. He'd tell me about how he was going to join the special forces, about how he was going to, about how he was going to volunteer to go to Iraq, and he was going to keep at it because he really believed in it. It's what he wanted to do. He knew that it was the thing for him. And I had my questions, I had concerns, I had complaints. I didn't think what we were doing was right, but that's Dresky's life, man. He can live it on his own, and he made his own decisions, and he volunteered. When we got back from Guantanamo Bay, after 4 days, Dresky volunteered to go back to Iraq, and he left. 3 months later, he was in a Humvee, and his vehicle hit a landmine. Dresky spent the next 6 months of his life with third-degree burns over 75% of his body. Majority of his face was burnt off, including his eyelids. and he died 6 months later. I found out about it Christmas Day. I was smoking a cigarette outside my house and at my mom's place, and one of the guys from our unit was downstairs. He was living in the same apartment building, and he was putting some lights up, and he just asked me kind of casually if I'd heard the news and told me that Dresky had passed away. I thought that he was going to get better. He'd spent a good time in Fort, whatever fort that is in Texas that people get better in. And I mean, for Dresky, there's now more than 4,000 other soldiers who have stories from Iraq, who have parents and grandparents and possibly children, loved ones left and right, and they're gonna miss all of this. I mean, we built this whole thing, and it's the sacrifices and dedication of all of the citizens within this country that have made this lifestyle possible. And I hope that in the future we can ensure that the sacrifices that people have made have been used to the most valuable extent that they could be, and that we are not wasting precious time and wasting the precious lives of precious boys and girls who decided to do something to try to help. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day.
Thank you, Chris. Our next two speakers will be Juan Torres and Gloria Barrios, parents of vets who have fallen. Juan is a member of Gold Star Families for Peace. His son, Juan, lost his life while serving in Afghanistan. And Gloria's daughter, Blanca Luna, lost her life while serving in Texas. So without further ado, Gloria and Juan. Thank you. Thanks.
So good morning to everybody. So thank you for coming. So for support us, for support our kids die in this war. So, and I see American, over 200 million American people is so opposite to war in Iraq. Where is the people here? It's the only few people around the country. Nobody is interested in what happened. The American people, they're involved in it all. It's individual. People, they think about what happened inside the house. Over 300 million people, the opposite about the gasoline price, healthcare, education, but nobody protests. Nobody say anything. This is, I'd say, sometimes the American people, they look like baby. If the baby stay inside, they protest, they cry, and you give me the meme, they stop crying. The same to American people, they don't do anything. My only son, he's died inside the base in Bagram, Afghanistan. He's serving for Kosovo. He's very happy, serving for the American, for this country. We immigrated from Argentina. On July 12, 2004, he's died inside the base in Bagram. He served in Bagram. He was in action, the first line, many times. And on 12 days for finishing the contract, he received shot in the head inside the base and shot. Nobody said anything. Today, the government that never give it to me, real what happened to my son. Now, I stay a personal investigation. I was in Afghanistan for 34 days. I'm making a personal investigation because the government they never helped me. I just paid $110,000 for my lawyer for investigating everything. So it's my son's life. I want to be the truth. What happened to my son? What the government covered up? Like many kids. And say maybe because I am immigrant, I am Latino. I know Latino, some people they say you are second class because you are Latino. I think we had human, we're the same. I have big accent in my English, you know. Maybe some people understand, maybe no. But I try to do, you know, something. And I say we come into this country, like if we say the soldier number 4 from Guatemala, he died in Iraq. The soldier number 4,000 died in Iraq from Mexico City. The 401 from Peru. These 3 soldiers is died for this country too, and these 3 soldiers is no citizen. Over 100 soldiers died in this war, no citizen. You're welcome to the army or marines, whatever. But they treat to our community, because we don't have a paper, for criminal. But for enlisted, for sent to Iraq to die, it's no problem. We need solution, please. We are the same opportunity like American people. We come into this country for the best, for my American dream. Look how they give me American. They destroyed my family, and over 4,080 soldiers die in Iraq. Nobody understand, nobody don't care. My family 100% destroyed. Her family here is destroyed, and many Latinos people is destroyed, nobody say anything, so thank you for giving me the opportunity. I want to speak too much, you know. And I say, yesterday, my congressman, he's invited me to some, whatever parties or whatever, in memories of the soldiers died in this war. I don't assist him. I don't assist him because he's not my family. My family is here. You are my family. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Buenas tardes a todos. Yo vengo con un mensaje para decirles, yo soy una madre dolida, acabo de perder mi hija en una base militar, me la asesinaron. Ella estaba en la Air Force. Veo que mi hija fue un ejemplo. Se graduó en la high school, hizo 4 años en la Marina, salió, estaba yendo al colegio y estaba trabajando, y luego se metió a la Air Force, y ahí en la base militar de la Air Force en Wichita, Texas, ahí me la asesinaron. Y a nosotros los militares o el gobierno de Estados Unidos no nos escucha porque somos latinos. Quiero que escuchen nuestra voz y quiero justicia para mi hija. Y quiero que a nadie en el mundo les pase, a los padres les pase que pierdan sus hijos como yo perdí mi hija. Gracias, les agradezco mucho. Mi hija es Blanca Luna. Gracias.
To briefly translate, this is Gloria Barrios. She lost her daughter, not in the war, on a military base in Texas. She's coming here just to let you guys know this is what happened. She doesn't feel this is just. She's not getting a lot of information from the government. All she really wants is justice. She wants the information. She wants justice for her daughter. There should be no reason for her daughter to have died. There is no reason for any of our young people to die. So she's just asking you, please stop this war and help her and her family understand why our young people are dying unnecessarily. Thank you. We are also part of CAMI. She's part of CAMI, Committee Against Militarization. We are having a fundraiser next Saturday at the 31st to help the 2 families bring money to hire lawyers to have another autopsy to really find the truth of what's going on. So we want peace and justice. We want justice for Juan Torres and Blanca Luna. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan and Gloria. Today, of course, we are commemorating those who have fallen in conflict, but we also commemorate those who have come home from these conflicts psychologically and physically damaged. We'll actually have one more speaker, Ray Parrish, who will be talking about his tireless efforts in counseling vets who are suffering from a post-traumatic stress disorder. So please welcome Ray Parrish.
Well, I was watching TV the other day, and George Bush was asked about the stop-loss issue and the involuntary recalls of the IRR. And he had the cojones to say, I want to thank all those troops for volunteering to return again and again to Iraq. Where has he been? I listen to the news reports here on Memorial Day, and over I hear speakers at other ceremonies talk about how our troops have given up so much. They didn't give up anything. It was taken from them. One of the things I do is I get calls almost every day from Iraq, from the troops over there wanting to know what in the world is an illegal order. And I got to tell them, well, you're involved in an illegal war, so any orders you get are illegal. On the point that they bring up is, I have been diagnosed with PTSD and they keep sending me back to the front with more and more pills. I can't sleep, so they give me Ambien. I get up and walk around, so they give me more Ambien. I can't get up, so they give me speed. I feel down, so they give me antidepressants. This is what we're doing to our troops, is we're keeping them in combat through medication. When they come back here to the States and if they make it to the VA, they get the same thing. You can't sleep, we'll give you a pill. You're a little anxious, we'll give you a pill. Over and over, these troops are given exactly the wrong kind of help that they need. They don't need pills, they need to talk. They need to talk about the big elephant in the middle of the room. What we talk about at Memorial Day ceremonies and Veterans Day ceremonies is about IEDs, is about troops getting shot, is about troops killing. That's the key, is troops killing. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about what an impact that has on you as an individual when you take another human life. We have got to talk about that, because that is the reason for the most severe cases of PTSD. And the most severe cases of PTSD we're seeing now are not ending up in the newspapers. They're not ending up in treatment. They are ending up in suicides. The RAND report came out 2 weeks ago telling us there are 1,000 suicide attempts a month by veterans. 1,000 a month. And the successful suicides among Iraq and Afghan veterans equals the number who have been killed in battle. Do you understand that? We are doing just as good a job at killing our own troops as the enemy is. You have to understand this is unprecedented. Never, ever have we had the suicide rate equal the death rate. And what's going on is a guilty conscience. These troops are telling me over and over they feel like a war criminal because they're involved in a criminal war, and they're told to do things they know are wrong. But they don't have a choice. They gotta do it, and they do it. And they do it over and over, deployment after deployment, and they can't live with themselves a minute longer, and they don't. We have to understand the Veterans Administration is not set up to take care of this. The people who are set up to take care of this are their fellow veterans. The Iraq Veterans Against the War are reaching out to their fellow veterans. They are saying, come in, talk to us. We'll sit down, we'll have a little group session. You can talk about these things to other vets who are not going to judge you as being evil because of what you've done. They set them up with appointments with lawyers to get VA claims and discharge upgrades. They set them up with therapists so that they can get professional help. This is what is going on, is veterans helping veterans. And that just happens to be the name of the cable TV show we do here in Chicago, VVAW in Iraq Vets Against the War, every Thursday night at 6:30 on Channel 21 on Chicago Cable. You'll see Veterans Helping Veterans. And if you go to the website, veteranshelpingveterans.us, you'll be able to watch our shows from the past. Please, everybody, make sure that you give IVAW the support they need to reach out to their brothers and sisters and help them recover from this horrible trauma they've been through. And I want you all to understand one thing that I think has been covered up, and that is the number of rapes in the military. They're calling it MST, military sexual trauma, because they just don't want to use the word rape. Well, the reports are out, and they say that 25% of the women will make it through their first term after having been raped in the military. And those are only the rapes that are reported. We know from history that that's only half the rapes. So, are we looking at a situation where a woman joining the military has a 50% chance of not coming out of the military being raped? We have to understand the psychological damage that's being done to these individuals, how long-term that damage is, how it affects every member of their family, every friend they've ever had. The impact of this war is a ripple through society. And the one thing the vets keep asking me, I thought the anti-war voters were a majority in America. How come the majority of people I see on the street are not wearing anti-war buttons? You have got to do that. You have got to wear your anti-war buttons walking on the streets for the vets to see them. So that's enough rabble-rousing for me today. I just want to let you all know that if you have a lawyer, if you are a psychologist and you want to volunteer, you can give me a call. You can go to the website, go to the VVAW website and contact me there. We are providing everything we can for our brothers and sisters, our sons and daughters, and our grandchildren. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you in November.
Thank you, Ray, for commemorating the vets who are still alive and yet still suffer the consequences of war. We actually have one more speaker, which will make 7. His name is Cesar Ruvalcaba, who served in the Gulf War. So please welcome Cesar.
Thank you. With me, I got Juan. I brought everybody back. I got Cami. I got all the Latino contingent here because I think it's very important that you get from everybody back here, because you don't hear enough of the Latinos and what they do. Especially, I'm going to be talking today about the immigration. It's very important because you don't hear about this enough, and you need to hear this because a lot of the immigrants come here and fight for the United States. And you need to hear what the immigrants do for this country. And I prepared a speech. Jesus A. Suarez was a Latino immigrant who joined the military for 2 reasons. The first was to obtain his citizenship promised by a military recruiter. The second was for a scholarship to further his education, also promised by the same military recruiter. Instead, Jesus was the first American soldier to die on March 27, 2003 in Iraq, just over a week and a half from the start of America's invasion in Iraq. George W. Bush will tell you that Jesus' service meant a lot for the United States and that he served his country well. But the reality is that Jesus, like many resident immigrants, saw the military as their only way as their only option to a higher education and better way of life. The government saw this in Jesus and exploited it. for its own personal agenda. The difference between what residents are seeking and the Defense Department is actually handing out are totally separate. The government first promises the world to them, then exploits them, and truly doesn't expect them to come back alive. Not to mention that it doesn't truly expedite the citizenship process. They don't want them to come back alive. This is evident in the lack of services it provides to them after they come back with physical and mental disabilities. Yes, you might get some money for college if you qualify, but in the long run, it doesn't better their lives if they are disabled. For the rest of it, many come back and are homeless with mental and physical disabilities. And if you do not fight for your benefits and services that you need and were promised, the government will not take care of you or fight for your benefits. It does not matter what color of the rainbow you are on the outside. When cut, everyone bleeds red. It is our duty as veterans and parents and community members to protect the next generation and learn from history that hate only breeds hate. We must work together. On the other hand, education and creativity broadens our minds and opens windows and doors to the world. There are many roads that lead to a higher education that does not involve killing. The government does not tell you this because it needs to feed a war. Isn't it ironic that the government will put a machine gun in a youth's hands and pay them to kill a total stranger in a foreign country and rewards them with medals and money? But if you do the same in this country, you will go to jail? These have become the only options left by recruiters to the less fortunate in order to obtain citizenship and money to further their livelihood. Will we continue to allow our leaders to lower the standards? Thank you. I truly feel that as immigrants and Latinos that we stand here, we must continue to help and we must continue to fight with our leaders, because this sickens me that gas prices are so high that we continue to let our leaders to continue to just get away with what they're doing, and we must continue to fight. This is an atrocity, and we must continue to fight. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Caesar. Today we have heard from veterans who have fought in wars spanning over 40 years, from Vietnam to the current occupation in Iraq. We have also heard from parents of a fallen brother and sister. Ultimately, we have heard about the loss of life, and we want to put this madness to an end. 10, 20, 30, maybe even 40 years from now, we don't want to be back here commemorating fallen veterans of future wars we will not have chosen for causes that won't be ours and benefits we won't share. Today, we choose peace. May peace reign in all of our hearts. Thank you for coming today. And finally, in honor of the Iraqi civilians, as well as the U.S. servicemen and servicewomen who have died in the occupations of Iraq and Afghanistan, we will be placing carnations in the river. We would like to start off with the vets present and move on to everybody else, so we can pass out the flowers, the carnations, and thank you. I will call the veterans present to fall in right here by the podium.
Immediately following or shortly following after this ceremony, there is a further gathering at the Vietnam Veterans Art Museum from 1 until 5.
What are we doing here? Wait till we do this.
You want to line up over at the end there.
Okay. Attention! Left face! Forward march!
I'm going to tell you the truth now.
Let us try what love can do, let peace prevail. To build this sad old world anew, let peace prevail. Let peace prevail. Let peace prevail. In our hearts and in our minds, let peace prevail. Got to feed the hungry, clothe the poor, let peace prevail. Can't afford the cost of war, let peace prevail. Let peace prevail. Let peace prevail. In our hearts and in our minds, let peace prevail. Old wrongs now we must forgive, let peace prevail. That every child on earth may live, let peace prevail. Let peace prevail. Let peace prevail. In our hearts and in our minds, let peace prevail. Raise your voices, join your hands, let peace prevail. Justice and mercy in every land, let peace prevail. Let peace prevail. Let peace prevail. In our hearts and in our minds, let peace prevail. Let us try what love can do, let peace prevail. To build this sad old world anew, let peace prevail. Let peace prevail. Let peace prevail. In our hearts and in our minds, let peace prevail. Let peace prevail. Let peace prevail. In our hearts and in our minds, let peace prevail. Paz, queremos paz y libertad. En este mundo we're singing peace. We want peace.
niños de todo el mundo queremos paz y libertad. For the children of the world, we want peace and liberty. Paz, queremos paz y libertad. En este mundo we're singing peace. We want peace and liberty in this world. No más hambre, no más guerra, queremos paz y libertad. No more hunger and no more war, we want peace and liberty. Paz, queremos paz y libertad. En este mundo we're singing paz. Queremos paz y libertad. En este mundo, a los pobres en esta tierra, queremos paz y libertad. For the poor of the earth, we want peace and liberty. Paz, queremos paz y libertad. En este mundo we're singing peace. We want peace and liberty in this world. Para los hermanos y las hermanas queremos paz y libertad. For the brothers and the sisters, we want peace and liberty. Paz, queremos paz y libertad. En este mundo we're singing peace. We want peace and liberty in this world. Paz, queremos paz y libertad. En este mundo we're singing peace. We want peace and liberty in this world.
Oh, he's on the line. Answer touching.
Oh, I'm not done. They're not done. Sorry. Peace, 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 peace. Wars must end and wars must cease. We must learn to live together. We need peace. We need peace. Peace, 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 peace. Wars must end and wars must cease. We must learn to live together. We need peace. We need peace. Peace, 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 peace. Wars must end and wars must cease. We must learn